Multiple winter storms will be coming to the United States over the next 7 days, and we are expecting a ton of snow from these winter storms, in addition to the threat for ice accumulation, and we are also monitoring an Arctic blast that'll be impacting the United States in the middle of the work week. So in today's forecast, we're going to break down exactly what you need to know about the weather that'll be impacting the United States over the next 7 to 10 days, and we'll begin with what's happening across the country today, and we actually have our first of many winter storms that is currently beginning to ramp up back over in the upper Midwest, and this is going to bring heavy snowfall and even ice accumulation across many areas in the upper Midwest, back into the northern Ohio Valley and into the Northeast as we go throughout the daytime today and eventually into tomorrow as well. Also back through the southern plains and the Southeast, things are very quiet down here for the time being. However, I do think our return for severe weather is going to make a comeback later this week, so we'll talk more about that here in just a few moments. And then the West Coast, after all of the rain and snow we've been seeing for the last week or so from all those atmospheric river events, we're done for now. There's going to be another atmospheric river later this week, but for the time being, enjoy the nicer weather. 3 to 4 different winter storms will be impacting the United States over the next 7 to 10 days, and the first one is happening today, and we already have winter storm warnings in effect in the pink boxes, which includes North Dakota, Minnesota, and back into western Wisconsin. Winter storm watches and warnings in effect for southern and central New England, and then winter weather advisories in effect in the purple, which includes much of the upper Midwest, also back into areas in the Northeast. A few ice storm warnings also in effect back over in southern Pennsylvania, where significant icing is going to be a possibility late tonight into early tomorrow morning. And before we go further into today's forecast, I do want to remind you, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to hit the red button down below and subscribe to the channel. We are only about 60,000 subscribers away from 1 million. I would really appreciate it if you subscribe to our channel. We are posting daily updates here on these winter storms throughout the next 7 to 10 days, so definitely make sure you stay tuned as well. All right, let's begin with the future radar for what's going to be happening with today's winter storm. Right now, there's already some light to moderate snow falling across the upper Midwest. We do have some freezing rain that is starting to fill in, especially back over in northern Illinois and southeastern Iowa, and this is going to cause some slick spots on the roadways, so if you have any intentions of traveling today, definitely be careful out there. There could be some drivers that are not used to dealing with ice accumulation. Back over near Maryland and also into northern Virginia, we also have snow and freezing rain over in those areas this morning as well. Eventually by lunchtime today, moisture is really going to start to pull into this area back over in the northern Ohio Valley and through the Great Lakes, and we are expecting the snow to really ramp up in intensity with moderate to heavy snow, in addition to even some moderate to heavy sleet and as well as freezing rain back across areas in the northern Ohio Valley, including northern Indiana and northern Ohio. Eventually by about 4 to 5 o'clock this afternoon, heavy snowfall is going to be blanketing northern Pennsylvania and western New York. Eventually by this evening, that snow and as well as freezing rain is all across Pennsylvania, New York, and almost all of New England. Will have some snow falling by this point. The heaviest of the snow, by the way, will actually be near Long Island and also back over into northern New Jersey right around 9 to 10 o'clock tonight. Eventually after midnight tonight, heavy snow continues across New England. There will still be a little bit of freezing rain and sleet back across parts of Pennsylvania, northern New Jersey, and southeastern New York, and then eventually that freezing rain area will move into southern New England during the morning hours tomorrow, and then this is moving offshore as we go into Sunday afternoon. Quite a bit of snow will be coming from this winter storm. We are expecting a widespread 3 to 7 inches of snow in the upper Midwest today, with some of the heaviest pockets across areas just to the north of Minneapolis and then back through central Wisconsin, where areas will pick up as much as 4 to even upwards of 8 to 9 inches of snowfall. So definitely a lot of snowfall coming. If you're back over in northern Indiana, northern Ohio, or southern Michigan, you'll be lucky to see any more than a coating to an inch or two, as a lot of this is going to end up being freezing rain, which will end up leading to the threat for ice accumulation. If you're back over in the Northeast, this is where the heaviest and most significant snowfall will be happening as we go into tonight and into early tomorrow morning. A widespread area between 4 to 8 inches of snow. I think many areas, though, back over in western New England and eastern New York will be as much as 8 to 12 inches of snowfall. And then also significant snow is expected back over near Watertown, New York, as lake effect snow will continue there. And even back over in Long Island, we're expecting around 3 to 6 inches of snowfall. And New York, by the way, had a huge drought of snow. We've actually had a lot of snow in Long Island this year, so definitely something to think about there. This is definitely one of those years, I think, that a lot of snow is going to continue to fall here in New England, and this is going to continue, I think, for the next couple of weeks. And ice accumulation will not be nearly as significant as the snowfall across the Midwest. However, there will be a large area that sees around a glazing, upwards of maybe up to a tenth of an inch of ice. This won't really cause power outages, but it could cause some slick spots on the roadways. So just make sure you're taking it slow out there if you have any travel plans today. The more significant ice accumulation will be located in Pennsylvania and Maryland, which is where we are anticipating a widespread glazing of ice, but there could be a few locations that pick up as much as a fourth of an inch of ice accumulation, which won't necessarily lead to really power outages, but it does have the potential to cause even more significant travel impacts. Now, beyond this winter storm, we are anticipating at least one, if not two more winter storms just over the next 5 to 7 days across the United States. So as we go into Monday, things look really quiet until really Monday night, where we have moisture coming out of the Gulf in addition to cold air coming out of Canada. This is all going to meet here in this battle zone across areas like the Central Plains, the Ohio Valley, and back into the Mid-Atlantic, and this is going to end up leading to at least a couple of shots of snowfall. You'll notice as we go into early Tuesday morning, we have an elongated area of snow from Kansas and Nebraska back into Missouri and Kentucky, and also back into Virginia and West Virginia, and at times we could have some heavy snow that leads to significant snowfall accumulation. Eventually, as we go into early Wednesday morning, that will start to clear out, but then another winter storm is likely to form back over in the Central Plains. This could dump a lot of snow across Kansas, Missouri, and back into Illinois and Iowa throughout the day on Wednesday. A little bit of snow may be left over back in the Mid-Atlantic from that first winter system, and then eventually as we go into Thursday, this winter storm grows in size and will be producing lots of snowfall across the upper Midwest, back into northern New England, and then there will also be an attached risk, I think, of at least some isolated severe weather back over in the Dixie Alley on Thursday. And then eventually as we go into Friday into Saturday, you might think we're done, right? Well, models have been very consistent on showing one of the largest winter storms that we've seen so far this year as we go into Saturday. This is what it looks like by around Saturday at lunchtime. Keep in mind that the positioning of this is very uncertain. However, the scale of the size of this is becoming a lot more likely to be pretty large. So we're more than likely going to have a large winter storm, I think, next weekend. However, we don't exactly know where it's going to be happening, but we do think that this could be dumping a ton of snow and ice, in addition to maybe a more significant risk of severe weather back down in the Dixie Alley, either Saturday or Sunday, and then eventually that moves out as we go into Monday, and I think the rest of February will start to get a little bit quieter. Not saying there won't be more snow or severe weather, but overall the general weather pattern looks to be the most active over the next 7 to 10 days. And for verification purposes, this is the European model, which does show a similar story during the middle of this week with a large winter storm forming in the Central Plains, eventually moving through the Midwest and then the Northeast late Wednesday into Thursday, and then it also shows another large winter storm as we go into the weekend. But notice how much further east it forms here on the European model, which is why I'm saying don't get too caught up yet exactly where the snow is going to be falling. Just know that there's likely going to be a huge storm on Saturday and Sunday in the United States, which will bring very cold weather in addition to the potential for heavy snowfall and maybe even severe weather. These winter storms will dump a ton of snow across the United States. This is all the way through Friday night. Notice how the main areas that we're going to be dealing with significant snowfall accumulation include the Central Plains, also back through the Northeast and the upper Midwest. And look at this, even the Mid-Atlantic region like Virginia and West Virginia, we're probably going to have many areas here around 6 to 12 inches of snowfall by the end of this week. So definitely get ready for this. It's going to be a pretty active week. And if you do include that winter storm that'll likely happen next weekend, which again, we don't exactly know where that's going to be taking place yet, it shows a ton of snowfall in the Midwest and back through the Northeast. Many areas just over the next 7 to 8 days could pick up as much as 1 to 2 feet of snow. And that could be a very large area, by the way. That could be literally the entire Midwest and also back through most of New England. That's pretty crazy to think about over a 7 to 10 day period. European model is pretty similar. This is all the way through Friday morning. Notice how, again, back over in the Central Plains and Mid-Atlantic region, expecting quite a bit of snowfall. I do want to point out that it does indicate lower amounts of snowfall in Virginia. Only a few areas over there only picking up around 6 to 10 inches of snow, maybe an isolated foot of snow, so not nearly as large an area. And then back through areas in the Northeast, still a lot of snowfall there. Now again, if we factor in that winter storm as we go into next weekend, it does have that snow a lot further to the north, but still a significant amount of snowfall in a vastly large area. And it's hard to ignore the threat of severe weather later this week. Right now, the current ingredients do promote a more ample threat for severe weather late Wednesday and into early Thursday across the Deep South and also the Dixie Alley. And then eventually by Saturday, we could have an even more significant threat of severe weather across parts of the Tennessee Valley, the Deep South, and the Dixie Alley as we go into Saturday. So definitely 2 days that you're going to want to watch for very closely, late Wednesday and early Thursday, and also into Saturday. That's technically 3 days, but you know what I mean. Really 2 different time frames. Definitely going to want to make sure if you're down in these areas that you're staying weather aware weather this week, as there might be a couple threats of severe weather, and if we end up having any sort of severe weather outbreaks take place, we'll be live on the channel. So make sure you're subscribed down below and click the bell icon down below so you're notified with the latest updates. And if you've been enjoying the warmer weather, enjoy it while it's here, because it's going to get pretty cold as we go into next week. Notice how cold air will be spilling out of Canada as we go into Monday and as well as into Tuesday across the central and northern plains, the Midwest, and also back into the Pacific Northwest. Many areas over there will actually be well below average, even some record-breaking temperatures up there. By the time we go into Thursday and into Friday, very cold air across the northern plains, and then eventually by the weekend, a large storm system is likely to come from the California coast and move all the way across the country, which will lead to even colder weather in the Midwest, Great Plains, and then eventually moving into the Northeast and the East Coast as we go into early next week, which will be around February 18th. And as always, thank you so much for watching. If you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below and like the video.